When building railways, engineers have a few options when confronted with a geographical obstacle, such as a hill. They can either go around, go over, give up, or literally go through it. In a sense, the tunnel is the epitome of man's determination to overcome whatever nature throws at us. While we might take them for granted in our daily lives, every tunnel is a marvel of engineering in its own right. But that being said, there are some notable examples of tunnels around the world that really do up the ante. One famous example is Isambard Kingdom Brunel's Box Tunnel. Brunel, in case you don't know, was a British civil engineer who is widely considered to be one of the most ingenious and prolific engineers in engineering history. The tunnel, built almost 180 years ago, forms part of his famous Great Western Railway in England, UK. This railway, in and of itself, is an engineering marvel that was so precisely constructed that over its entire 118-mile length, it rarely exceeds a 1 in 1,000 gradient. In other words, for every 1,000 units traveled horizontally, the vertical distance only rises or falls by 1. That's practically flat. A very impressive feat given the time. But there is one notable exception to this: the 2-mile-long box tunnel located between Chippenham and the spa town of Bath, which has a gradient of around 1 in 100. The tunnel was hand-hewn out of solid rock with the aid of explosives by a team of 1,500 men, rising to 4,000 towards the project's end. These navvies, as they were known, toiled day and night to complete the tunnel and make Brunel's dream a reality. The tunnel took 5 years to complete, starting in 1836 and ending in 1841. Legend has it that the tunnel was specially aligned so that the sun shines through it on Brunel's birthday, 9th of April. Sadly, this is not the case, although the sun does shine directly through the tunnel on several other days in April and again in September. This project was unprecedented at the time and very dangerous. Around 100 men lost their lives. To put that into context, around 96 workers lost their lives during the construction of the Hoover Dam and tens of thousands during the construction of the Panama Canal. Work on the tunnel began from both the east and west sides of Box Hill. The tunnel was built to such precision that when the two ends of the tunnel met in 1941, the difference in their alignment was out by less than 2 inches. This was thanks to the navvy's labor, the skills of the contractors, and Brunel's precise calculations. To put that level of precision into perspective, the Channel Tunnel, completed over 150 years later, was out by around 3 inches. Granted, it was 10 times as long and constructed underwater, but for the time, the Box Tunnel was an incredible achievement. Of course, the Channel Tunnel is another incredibly impressive engineering achievement.
Arriving for the 9:53 to France, this was the Queen's first glimpse of Waterloo's glittering international rail terminal.
Dreamed of since the days of Napoleon Bonaparte, this tunnel famously links the nations of France and England underneath the English Channel. This was a highly challenging project technologically and was years in the planning. When finally completed in 1994, it was hailed as one of the modern wonders of the world. 13,000 people were employed to make the project a reality. 10 workers would die during the construction. The average depth of the tunnel is 165 feet below the seabed, with its lowest depth at 246 feet below the seabed. 11 tunnel boring machines were employed in total to complete the works. At just over 31 miles in total length, with 23 miles but under the sea, this is the world's longest undersea tunnel to date. It cost around £4.65 billion to build and took 6 years to complete. While the Channel Tunnel is the world's longest underwater tunnel, the award for longest railway tunnel goes to the Gotthard Base Tunnel, at a total of 35 miles in length. It is the centerpiece of the equally impressive new rail link that runs through the Swiss Alps. It also happens to be one of the deepest, reaching 1.4 miles at its deepest point. The entire project cost $12.5 billion to complete and was endorsed by Swiss voters in a referendum in 1992. Construction was laborious and required engineers to dig and blast their way through 73 different kinds of rock. Engineers also ensured the tunnel runs perfectly straight and flat for its entire length. It took 17 years to complete and employed around 2,600 workers. Sadly, 9 of these workers died during construction. They are commemorated on a special plaque near the tunnel's northern entrance. Before its completion, the Seikan Tunnel in Japan was the world's longest traffic tunnel. This 54-kilometer-long tunnel was designed for use by Japan's Shinkansen bullet trains. It passes through the Tsugaru Straits of Japan and connects the Aomori Prefecture on Honshu Island and the Hokkaido Island. Around 14 miles of its length is more than 328 feet below the seabed. It was officially completed in 1998. These are but a few of the many amazing train tunnels around the world, but they speak volumes about the human capacity for ingenuity and determination. So next time you travel through a tunnel of any kind, spend your time to reflect and marvel at the labors of those who engineered and built these time-saving conduits on your behalf.